Hello and welcome, my name is Reef as always, and I'm going to share with you the build I'm using with the Tal Rasha set for the Wizard in Season 3 of Diablo 2, patch 2.2. Okay, first off, the items I'm using obviously is the 6-piece Tal Rasha bonus, hat, torso, belt, pants, gloves, and the amulet. My rolls on these items are not ideal. I think the only really good one I have is the chest piece as well as the helm itself, although I don't have that 6% critic chance yet. Other than that, I'm using Deathwatch Mantle Shoulders. You can also use the Skeleton Pauldrons, which are quite good. I'm using the Ancient Parthian Defenders for the defensive bonus. Rings I'm using Focus and Restraint. And also using an Ancient Furnace for the weapon, and the boots are the Nilfur's Boost, which have rolled quite okay. This is one of the I'm usually, when I'm going with like in greater rift groups or high greater rifts and you want damage, this is the setup I'm using. And if I'm doing solo greater rifts, I'm using the Tasker and Theo Talisman of Aranok. I'm actually looking for a Mars Kaleidoscope, Convention of Elements with the Roaring of Grandeur, the Tal Rasha Offhand, and an Ancient One-Hander. Currently a Sky Splitter, still looking for that Serpent Sparker. Skills I'm using stays the same throughout which build I'm using. It doesn't really matter which items I'm using. I'm using Shock Pulse, Piercing Orb as my lightning damage, as well as to help regenerate arcane power. Hydra, Mammoth Hydra, because it does a lot of damage, and I have plus Hydra damage on my items. Meteor Star Pact. I feel that this is the meteor that does the most damage. And then Blizzard Frozen Solid for that cold damage, as well as the crowd control that the Frozen gives you. Other than that, I'm using Magic Weapon, Force Weapon, and Energy Armor, Force Armor currently. Passives are Elemental Exposure, Prodigy, Arcane Dynamo, and Blur. Reasons for these are Elemental Exposure. Obviously, every time you do a type of elemental damage, the enemies take 5% more damage from all sources for 5 seconds, and this stacks up to 4 times, which works great with the Tal Rasha bonus. Prodigy to help regenerate that arcane power. Arcane Dynamo, because when you cast a signature spell, you gain a flash of insight. After 5 flashes of insight, your next non-signature spell deals 60% additional damage, which makes your Hydra and your Star Pack do a fuck ton more damage. And Blur, just to a bit more toughness. You can also use Unstable Anomaly, or Paralysis, or Glass Cannon. Depends on what you want to do on the situation as well. But in this situation, I'm using Blur. And yeah, Paragons are basically for core are just max movement speed, and the rest is all in intelligence. Offense is attack speed maxed to help regenerate our arcane faster. Critic damage maxed in, and critic chance afterwards. Cooldown reduction is not that important, as I have no skills that actually use cooldown here. Defense wise, I spent it all on resist all and armor, and then currently on life. Life regen will be a last case situation thing for me. And utility is resource cost reduction, then area damage, and then life on hit. Gold find is not that important, so I find usually I spend it last there, because it's really not an issue to find gold in seasons anymore, or in Diablo in general. But yeah, so how this build works is basically you start off by casting your Piercing Orb, your lightning spell, fine, so you get your first attack. Then you're frozen, you do your core damage by casting Blizzard. My timing was a bit out there. And then I usually get my Hydra up. See, now my Hydra's up, everything's good and well. And then Stop Act. And while you're doing that, obviously you can keep on recharging and cast another one before your buff goes down. And with that, you'll have 4 meteors calling down, doing quite a bit significant damage. I think my Stop Act, the highest I've seen so far, is critting for 20 billion damage. That's obviously with the bonus of my gems. I'm using the Bane of the Chapped, Bane of the Powerful, as well as the Gem of Infectious Toxin. Those are all just for damage, as my current setup is just there for damage, to do as much damage as possible in group greater rifts. If you're looking for a bit more toughness in general, I highly suggest using the Halo of Arlis alongside the gem. Which one was it again? Esoteric Alteration. That helps quite a lot, especially if you're using Frost Armor. Well, obviously you need to use Frost Armor. And yeah, that should help you gain quite a bit of progress in Great Rifts. Currently in groups I can do 50s easily, so yeah, things are going well. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope this helped you a lot. Okay, cheers.